Well, okay then. This is my humble opinion on last night's debacle, the Seville Man United game. I'm sorry for the glare, I'm wearing the glasses today because I don't usually write notes, but I've wrote a couple today. And basically, I just want to go over what I've probably already mentioned in past, is it videos, vlogs, whatever the hell they called, I don't know, I'm new to all this. Look, we all like to be proved right. In this instance, I'd rather have not been. But last night was worrying for a number of reasons. I mean, for a start, it felt like another blowout. Yet it wasn't 6 or 7-0, and we've had a few of those these last 2 or 3 years. It was only 3. But I, for one, thought in the last 12 or 13 minutes it was going to be 4 or 5. Because I thought we'd not so much down tools, but our heads were down, they were really down. We'd chased all night, we looked absolutely shattered. And I feared for another 5-0. But even 3-0 against Seville, that's embarrassing. They're not a bad team. They've got great fans, a great stadium there. But when all said and done, what are they, 13th, 14th in their league? I think someone mentioned earlier on they've been beat 7 times at home this year. Well, if Man United can beat Barcelona over 2 legs, we've got to beat Seville. We've got to. I know we've had some injuries and that's killed us and they're important injuries, but you've got to get over that. You know, obviously we lost the tie in the first leg, you know, from 2-0 up and cruising. We should never have landed back in at 2-2. Bruno should never, ever have got a card because he did absolutely nothing wrong, for a change. So the gods seem to be against us there, but I'm worried. I mean, I don't for one moment think we won't make top 4, because I think we will, even with the depleted team we've got at the moment. I'm worried to death about the weekend and the Brighton game, because for me, Brighton are a better team than Seville. I was surprised at the end last night when Scholes said Seville were brilliant. Yeah, they were very good, but I think to be brilliant, you've got to be playing another team that's playing well. And I think they were the Man United kind of brilliant. We looked pretty much brilliant, although we only got a couple of goals at a time. We looked brilliant against Forest and against Everton. But Forest and Everton were shocking. I mean, against Everton, you had Bruno playing as a quarterback, just above the back 4, spraying balls here, there and everywhere. You had a regular ball going over to, Anthony? That the fullback never ever cut out. He never ever dropped back and man marked him. You know, it was just like, it was brilliant. It was easy. You know, Everton offered nothing. Forest offered nothing. Last night, Manchester United offered nothing. And therein lies the problem. But just going through a few things to do with last night and just to get these off my chest yet again. I mean, in one of my earlier videos, one of the first ones I ever did, it concerned Man United, and it was, I think, titled Man United Tactical Horrors. And I'm looking over here because I've wrote bits and pieces down. And the first thing I pulled up on that, because I think Ten Hag is a brilliant coach, a brilliant manager. He's shown it throughout the season, and I think we're going to do fantastic with him. I've got no loss of faith in Erik Ten Hag. What I will say is, for somebody that I put such faith in, how on earth can he not see that our back line cannot cope with this passing out from the back? We just cannot do it. And it's not just De Gea, who is absolutely awful with the ball at his feet, by the way. And I mean, awful. That was like Calamity Jane, is it, last night? It was crazy, just crazy. He's not only the worst player in the Premier League with the ball at his feet, the worst goalkeeper, he's possibly one of the worst in the whole of Europe. He's horrendous. So if we know he's horrendous, you do one or two things, Eric. You either get rid of him or you drop that tactic. He cannot do it. As I said from the last couple of years, when it used to be Shaw, Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, we couldn't do it with them. Shaw isn't brilliant with the ball at his feet, and his passing isn't great. He's shown that again last night. It was woeful. He normally is paired up with Maguire, who were left till last in the last video. I'm going to leave till last again, just to rub on what I said in the last video. Lindelof, not bad with the ball at his feet. Not bad. Not brilliant, not bad. Wan-Bissaka, shocking. Absolutely shocking. Can't control the ball, can't pass the ball. You can't hang your hat on him at all. And then we go back to Maguire, who would normally play inside Shaw. I think he's probably our best defender with the ball at his feet. I think he's great. The problem is, you can't rush him. If you rush him, you've got a problem. You know, if you gather around him, as they did last night, and you take the ball off him, he can't get back. You seen last night, he had the turning circle of a tug on the River Mersey. He just couldn't get back. He just could not get back. But also, now and again, he'll take a false touch, a dodgy touch. Everybody will. That can happen. If he takes that dodgy touch, a guy who's 5 yards away can still get the ball, because Maguire just cannot get back to that ball. Last night, yes, he shouldn't have asked for the ball, but oh my goodness, why would De Gea give it him? We've got to do one of two things, Eric. We stop this tactic completely, or we get at least a goalkeeper who feels good with this tactic. If you change your backline, get the right backline, if maybe Malacia comes in with Varane, with Martinez, and the right full-back you're looking for, whoever that might be, then again, we can use that tactic, it's fine. The great teams can. We're not a great team when it comes to that kind of football. We cannot do it. As I said, I know it seems defeatist. Do what I said, Eric. Ball, past the halfway line, as far past as you can, De Gea from the floor, boot it out. I know it seems Jack Charlton-ish, but it'll work. As far past the halfway line as you can, boot it out. That'll be our offensive tactic. Because then, the game stops, we have a chance to get set up. Yes, they've got the ball, but only from a throw-in. You can win balls from a throw-in easily. But then, we're hopeful at least a third of the way into their half. They've got like more than half a pitch to get back to us. Whereas, as it is at the moment, if we lose the ball, they're right on goal. And what we often tend to do with these back passes, the last pass, we're hemmed in, so the last pass, someone rushes it and knocks it 15 yards out, and it still goes to the opposing player. So they're only 25 yards from goal, 30 yards from goal. It's no good. Stop doing it. And again, in the tactical horror video, I mentioned our crossing and the quality of our crossing. Again, it was minute out last night. It's shocking. It's woeful. It's woeful. We've got plenty of people that are good on the ball, but virtually everything that comes from out wide, when it does come, many of our wingers take touch after touch after touch. Anthony, Sancho, Martial when he's there, maybe Rashford. They're not wingers that get to a byline and get the ball across. The only guy we've got in the club doing that is Palestri, and he never gets on. I'd love to see more of him. Maybe Diallo might do, the guy that's at Sunderland, I don't know. But at this moment in time, the only winger that looks to beat a man and get an early ball across is Palestri, and he's not getting on yet. We need more. The crossing is horrendous. Our corner kicks are horrendous. Was it last year we went nearly all year till we got a goal from a corner? We never look like getting one at the moment. I think the commentator mentioned last night, they had in 5 minutes 3 on the bounce, Seville, 3 corners on the bounce that all went to their attackers. They all had a free header. 3 on the bounce. I think maybe I think Maguire headed one last night in the second half that went to his head. I'm not sure we had another corner that found ahead of one of our guys. We don't score from corners. We very rarely score from free kicks. Our crossing is abysmal. We've got Weghorst on there when he's on. He's 6'4", 6'5". Does the ball ever find his head? No, never. Not with a chance to score. Maybe once every couple of games. But once every couple of games he's 6'4". Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So tactically we need to do better. You know, we were hurt last night for pace. We had a lack of pace throughout the pitch. You know, if we got there. Maguire, will you get slower in the back four than Maguire? I don't think you will. Sabitzer runs hard and does his best, but you watch him run, it's like he's running through treacle, very slow. Casemiro, absolutely outstanding player, as again one of my earlier videos said, but he didn't back up to the plaudits I gave him in the last video. Casemiro, he wasn't great last night to say the least. Sancho, really slow. He's a lot slower than I thought he was going to be. And he may have been brilliant at Dortmund, but good grief, he's not doing it here. And then you've got Weghorst when he comes on. Again, no pace. You've got Rashford, plenty of pace. Came in at half-time, but I'm not saying he wasn't fit, because he's only been a week and a half, 2 weeks he's been out. But it looked like he probably didn't want to be on there and was frightened of getting a further injury, which I can understand. It didn't affect the game at all. I don't think he did anything. He had, a full half. Probably our best player for the year, other than Casemiro and Fernandes, and he did nothing whatsoever. So something needed there. What else have we got? The other video I did, and it's not trying to promote my videos, this playing with Ronaldo, the two that need to be on the plane with Ronaldo. I mentioned Wan-Bissaka had to be there. Why he's still at the club is beyond me. And old Iggy, we'll go to Iggy last, but Wan-Bissaka, you know, last night he went off in the second half. Everybody to a man, and the pundits are telling me how he's improved and how much better he is under Ten Hag. Please, as I said in the last video, just watch him. Watch just Wan-Bissaka. When the game's on, Focus on Wan-Bissaka. Focus on what he does. As I said in the past video, he's out of position all the time. He's been given this new role as a marauding fullback. The idea of that is you're supposed to attack and defend. He can't attack. He can't put crosses in. He can't help his winger because his winger's ahead of him, waiting for the ball to come around a fullback, through a fullback, over a fullback. He can't do that. He can't do any of those passes. He takes a touch or two and passes infield. Takes a touch or two and passes behind him. Or he'll take a touch or two, let the winger drop back to him and give him a 5-yard pass. That's not good for the winger. That's not good for the attacker. He's holding our winger back. He's holding Anthony back, just like he held Greenwood back over the last couple of years. These wingers need some help. They need quick ball. They need to get up there and they need to affect the game. You can't get that with Wan-Bissaka. But as I say, since he started roaming, he's never there. He's never in his position. He's supposed to bust a gut to get back. Watch him last night. He's never there when they're attacking. He did that horrible back heel last night. It was horrendous. He got caught on the ball twice. He gave the ball away twice, probably more. This is what I remember. He had our best chance in the first half and missed it. Now, all right, you could say it wasn't easy, but he's only got the goalkeeper to beat. He used his best foot. Last week, when he missed that virtually open goal, I believe it wasn't his best foot, but that should have been buried. You know, they tell me we're after this fullback who scored again last night. Is it his 9th goal of the season now? So there's a fullback there scored 9 this season. Has Wan-Bissaka got 1 in about 4 seasons? As I say, Wan-Bissaka will never get 9 until he's 90. Get rid. Get him on a plane and get rid. He's just not good enough. I don't care what the pundits say. He is not good enough. And then we go to Iggy. Oh my God, Iggy again. When the going gets tough, he gets going. He runs to the hills. Well, he doesn't run to the hills. He hobbles to them. Iggy, by the way, is Martial. I read again on yesterday. Ten Hag wants him to stay. He wants to get him fitter, but wants him to stay. Why would you want a man to stay that plays with a scowl on his face? He's never happy. He thinks the world's against him. He thinks the world owes him a favour. As I said, the Iggy connotation, he plays 10 games. In 1 he's brilliant. He was brilliant the other day. Was it against Everton? Was it against Newcastle? I can't remember, but he was brilliant. He'll play 1 brilliant game. He'll play 2 not so bad. And for the other 7 he goes missing. Completely missing. He's a complete and utter passenger. There's the Iggy connotation from His Grace at the Passenger. Did the same last night. You'd never seen him in the first half. I think the commentator said once, Martial, the thing is he's dropping so far back, there's no focal point through the middle. He's playing centre forward. He's a deep lying midfielder some of the time. What's he doing there? He had 1 half shot. I don't think it was on target. He offered nothing to the game. And then when he realised at half time, we're getting battered here. We're not gonna bring this back. You know, it's another bad night for Man United. Oh wait a minute, my knee's hurting again. If it's not one knee, it's the other. If it's not one thigh, it's the other. If it's not one foot, it's the other. As I said, he's the Black Darren Anderson. Get rid. Don't persevere with these people next year and going forwards. You get no playing time out of them anyway, and when he plays, he does nothing. Get rid. I don't know. All right, and the last bit here. What was the last bit I did? I was looking last night, and Scholes said something at the end that's really relevant. He said the one great thing about tonight, if there's one point that can come from it that's worthwhile, is Erik ten Hag will have realised who he wants with him in the trenches next year, who he wants on side and who he doesn't. And I think he meant, as much as anything else, without saying it, because he's been great for us, I think he meant De Gea. And my thoughts on De Gea are this now. After seeing it last night, we knew he was bad with the ball on the floor, we know that. If we carry on with those tactics of playing out from the back, De Gea just has to go. No ifs, no buts, no maybes, he's got to go. He's saved us in game after game this year. We've got loads of points on the back of De Gea. He's been fantastic. I think he's a wonderful shot stopper. Yeah, he had a year and a half making a few mistakes, more than the norm. He let us down with a few points, but over the last 7-8 years, he's been brilliant. He's been a brilliant goalkeeper. He's never been good with the ball at his feet. He's looking even worse now. I think the worst horror he has sets him up for the next game to be even more ropey and more shaky than he's been. He just knows he doesn't want to be doing it. He shouldn't be doing it, but his manager's telling him to, which I don't get. Unless they can spend 20 hours a week on the training paddock with him and getting him comfortable with the ball at his feet, and I think at 31 or 32, whatever he may be, that'll never happen. Unless they can do that, they've just got to stop playing this tactic, because We've almost let in lots of goals in the last 3 years, I would suggest. We've almost let in lots. We have let in a fair few. It could have been a lot more. Every time we play out from the back, my heart is in my mouth. And I mean every time, and I'm shouting at the TV, get rid of the ball, get it upfield. Why on earth we're doing it is just, we are not set up for it, and we've got a goalkeeper that's awful at it. And what it can do, it can affect the rest of his goalkeeping. I would suggest he didn't have a great game last night, Dyer. But that first goal will play a big part in that. And then after the third goal, oh my God, he was never going to save anything again. You know, so if we're going to play it from the back, De Gea's gone. If we're not, I'm happy to stick with De Gea. But the only people I would say should be starting at Manchester United from next season on a weekly basis would be Varane, Martinez, Malacia. I think there's hope there, massive hope. Casemiro, Bruno, Eriksen, although I've slashed against Eriksen because it could be Eriksen or somebody like Bellingham or Rice or whoever else it may be. But if Eriksen doesn't play every game, or if we bring a midfielder in, Eriksen's a fantastic backup to have on the bench there. Anthony, Garnacho and Rashford. They're the only people that I would be looking at starting with next year. They are the only ones. At the bottom of that page, I've wrote Greenwood. We don't know what we're going to do with Greenwood. Again, there's a video that I've downloaded or posted earlier on last week about Greenwood. I think it's worth looking at. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with him. I think more and more of me thinks they're going to get rid. I possibly don't think they should. Now, that's not that I defend rapists. You know, he's been not guilty anyway. He's not been found guilty. But I'm not into, you know, if the guy is a rapist, just get rid. I've got no problem with that. But I'm not sure of the case. But if you look at the video, it'll explain what I'm on about with Greenwood. But last night with Greenwood, I mean, Greenwood had been on there last night and virtually nothing was created. I think we'd have got at least one goal because Greenwood just scores. Greenwood is the best finisher we've got at this club by a country mile. I mean, Rashford doesn't come near him in finishing. Greenwood is just absolutely mustard. And the thing is, Greenwood can create something out of nothing for himself where we wasn't doing anything last night. Now, if Greenwood starts and if we get in a hurricane or is it Oshiman or whatever the guy's name is, then for me, then Anthony and Garnacho probably aren't starting. But again, they're great from the bench. You don't want to roll Garnacho back, and you've paid 80 million for Anthony. But for me, your front line is Rashford, another, i.e. the centre forward, and Greenwood. You know, if we don't get a centre forward and we do keep Greenwood, it's going to be Rashford, Greenwood, and either Anthony or Garnacho. If Garnacho's happy to move wing, I don't know if that's a possibility. But they're the only starters for me, based on what I'm seeing of late. Bench players, Dalot, yeah. Shaw, yeah. Fred, definitely. McTominay, although he'll probably want to go. Palestri, I don't think we've seen enough of this lad. I'd like to see more of him. But he's not getting on even when we're playing badly like last night. I mean, I'd have brought him on early on, Palestri. Diallo, he's pulling up trees at Sunderland. It's a different league, I know, but they're raving about him. I'd like to see him. I know he isn't, he's only still a young lad. He's not got a lot of size about him, same as Palestri. I know he didn't do brilliant at Rangers, but he's doing fantastically there, and he's got a goal in him. You know, we've got wingers who don't score goals. Sabitzer, 50-50. I think he's a trier. He's got a goal in him. He's got a great shot on him. He works hard. I don't know whether he wants to stay as a bench player. And then who do we get rid of? Well, for me, Wan-Bissaka every day of the week. Iggy every day of the week. Van der Beek is obviously going to go. Weghorst works really, really hard, but he's slow, and he's not got a goal in him. His goal return is abysmal. And then Sancho, that's the hot potato. Sancho, again, another player we paid £80 million for, same as Maguire. I'd probably get rid of them together. Sancho, he looks great on the ball. He's got plenty of skill. Does too much on the ball. Often loses the ball because he does too much. Gets caught in possession. Doesn't score enough goals. And again, got no pace. He's been given many chances. I don't think he's the player for us. That doesn't mean he won't go somewhere else and be brilliant. I think he's well capable of it. But he isn't doing it for us. And the way I see it, with Sancho, I'd rather probably see Diallo or Palestri given a chance. When the Jumbo Garnacho's back, I'd always have Garnacho over Sancho. And then if Greenwood did come back, If he doesn't play through the middle, he plays on a wing, so there's another winger. So for me, Sancho doesn't get in. You know, you might get 30 to 40 million for him now in the close season. Take it, because he ain't doing it. But that's basically it. That's rant over. That's my thoughts on last night, my thoughts on things going forward. But it's just disappointing. It's another really heavy defeat. It worries me for the game to come over the weekend because it could be the same, although I don't think we'll bang in two performances, one after the other, as bad as that. And we will have Bruno back, which will help tremendously. If Rashford feels a little bit better from last night's exertions, as he didn't exert himself much, but if he feels better and with another couple of days, a bit of rest and recuperation as much as training on him, and he feels fitter, or not fitter, what's the word? If he feels in his mind less likely that he's going to overstretch himself and get hurt over the weekend, we may have Rashford back to what he was. So Rashford back to something similar to what he was. Bruno back. Yeah, we've got chances, but as I say, I think Brighton this year are a better team than Seville this year. So that Seville defeat worries me. It worries me greatly. And as I say, it could have been a blowout last night. 3 was bad. It could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. It's got to stop. We've got to start getting more consistent. We can't keep throwing these odd games in. We can't. But hopefully next year with yet more recruitment, there we go again. We can't just keep spending money, but we do. We need the right players, and some of the players that have come in over the last 5, 6, 7 years aren't the right players, and 2 or 3 of them are costing 80 million and still aren't the right players. So come on, Eric, change the tactics. Get a goalkeeper that can play out from the back, or just bin it. Just bin it for the rest of the season till you decide the way forward. But it's either play out from the back, train De Gea to do it, or play out from the back with a new goalkeeper. And that's it from me.